KSLA News 12 starts now.
We start tonight with a sad update about a Shreveport woman who was reported missing yesterday. Police found the body of 75-year-old Daisy Walker in a concrete opening at Chevyland this morning. KSLA News 12's Jade Myers was at the scene of that incident.
A blue and red tarp covered the area where Walker was found. First responders used a harness to recover her body.
This morning, a jogger found her in this drainage area in front of Chevyland. She's been there for quite a while. They went back and were able to check the video cameras here, and they had her early Saturday morning, this is Saturday morning, early Friday morning, on video walking across the parking lot here, and the cameras pick her up till she almost reaches the drainage area, and that's where the cameras cut off.
Walker's loved ones watched as officials investigated the area. Her family said she had advanced dementia. Police used high-tech tools during the search, but the task was tedious.
The police department had drones, infrared drones, everything trying to locate her, but the fact that she was in a metal container, a metal drainage ditch, they weren't able to find her. She was, the drainage ditch has got about 3.5, 4 feet of water in it, waist deep in water. And that's where we found her.
The city of Shreveport's water and sewage director describes the enclosure Walker was found in.
That fire line vault is between 5 and 6 feet deep. The fire vault is maintained by Chevyland. The meter vault is maintained by the city of Shreveport. We are going to make sure that Chevyland secures the fire vault so that this doesn't happen in the future.
Thomas said he doesn't know Walker's exact time of death, but he suspects it was an accident.
At this point in time, I don't find any evidence of foul play. My working idea is that she stumbled into that area and probably could not get out. There are no evidence of blunt force trauma, very minor abrasions at all for where she'd fallen into that area.
Jade Myers, KSLA News 12.
The Caddo Parish Coroner's Office says that they will conduct an autopsy on Walker.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're tracking our next weather maker, cold front, that will move through Sunday evening. Now, we've gone through a couple of days of just having, again, like today, a couple of isolated scattered showers, but this one's going to be different. More people will be impacted with rain and thunderstorms and a much cooler turn after that as we head into Monday. But we do have the latest severe weather outlook, a slight risk for the I-30 corridor and around it. That's a marginal risk for severe weather. So still on the low end, but something that we will keep an eye on and something that I want to urge you to make sure that you have your alerts on and a way that you can hear them as you go into your nightly routine late Sunday evening into Monday morning. Here's a look at satellite and radar the last 2 hours. We've seen some showers near Miller and Lafayette County over in Arkansas, but now northern McCurtain County has some showers and thunderstorms this evening. Now we could see more pop up in the I-30 corridor overnight tonight, but again, the main one will make its way into the ArkLaTex as we head into late Sunday evening. Temperatures right now in the upper 60s, low 60s for Natchitoches and Florine, but elsewhere a fairly mild night. We'll take a look at the temperatures for tomorrow and of course the rain coming up in your full forecast.
Louisiana reports its first probable case of the Omicron variant in the New Orleans area. We don't know much about the individual except that they recently traveled within the U.S. Louisiana joins 8 other states reporting cases of the new strain. Researchers out of South Africa first reported the first case there after Thanksgiving. The reports say it may have been circulating beforehand.
The LDH has established a network of laboratories and it is proactively doing genomic sequencing on positive COVID cases, which essentially means they're looking at the genetic code of the virus to determine if it's the Omicron variant or any other variant.
Officials encourage those eligible to get vaccinated or to get their booster shots. Pharmaceutical companies are still investigating how their vaccines might protect against this variant. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the Biden administration is in talks with pharmaceutical manufacturers.
We could probably get a good bit of mileage just from boosting with the ancestral strain vaccine that we already have for the reasons that I gave in my presentation. But having said that, we are working with the pharmaceutical companies, particularly obviously Moderna, Pfizer, and J&J, on what their plans are. And they do have plans that have multiple contingency.
Fauci says if a new booster is needed, the Food and Drug Administration would decide the regulatory process. And more people have died from COVID this year compared to last, and the U.S. is now averaging more than 80,000 new cases a day. In response, the Biden administration is launching family vaccination clinics and will require health insurers to cover the cost of at-home COVID tests. The White House is also doubling the number of COVID tests coming to community-based locations so everyone has access to free testing.
People have to know whether they're sick or not. And so I think it's really important for everyone to have access. So for folks with private insurance, they can, request and get information on particularly how to get reimbursed, which I think is pretty standard fare for most services that are, through private insurance.
According to Dr. Cameron Webb, he already shipped about 50,000 tests. Starting next week, the CDC is requiring a negative test result one day before air travel into the U.S. Previously, travelers who were fully vaccinated had to get tested negative for the virus within 3 days of their trip. People who show they've recovered from COVID within the past 90 days are exempt. 1 month in, the COVID-19 vaccination rate among kids 5 to 11 is slower than it was for older children. That's according to data from the CDC. After 1 month of becoming eligible, about 16% of kids ages 5 to 11 have received their first dose, compared to the 27% of 12 to 15-year-olds who were vaccinated by mid-June. More kids are experiencing a rare but potentially life-threatening COVID complication. It's called multisystem inflammatory syndrome, or MIS-C. New numbers from the CDC found MIS-C cases were up more than 8% last month. Louisiana is set to receive $101 million during the current federal budget year to improve drinking water systems across the state. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy says the money comes from the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package. He said it could be used to replace lead pipes, remove contaminants, and upgrade water systems. Cassidy says Louisiana can expect similar federal payments for the next 4 years. In Arkansas, the CARES Act committee approved nearly $57 million in requests from the Federal CARES Act. The funds will be used for libraries, assisted living centers, and COVID-19 contact tracing across the state. The funding has to be spent by the end of the year. Honda is recalling thousands of SUVs and pickup trucks because the hoods can open while a person is driving. Honda says this recall includes certain 2019 passports, 2016 through 2019 pilots, and 2017 through 2020 Honda Ridgeline pickups. Full Court Press with Greta Van Susteren airs tomorrow on KSLA News 12. Here's a sneak peek of this week's show.
Tomorrow, I speak to former UK Prime Minister, now a WHO ambassador, Gordon Brown.
It's in our own self-interest to vaccinate the rest of the world. We know that where people are unvaccinated and unprotected and the disease spreads uninhibited, that is where the risk of these mutations are greatest. And that is where the threat is not only to the countries where the disease is happening, it's also a threat to all of us, even to the fully vaccinated.
And Miss Alice Turner, I hope you're watching. We're wishing you a very 100th birthday, very happy 100th birthday. She is the best aunt and great aunt to 13 nieces and 6 nephews. She's known for giving the very best hugs. Alice Turner has served the community of Shreveport for over 40 years of her life by her presence, teaching, knowledge, and kindness.